question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth! Colonel Jessup, did you order the code red?
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth! Colonel Jessup, did you order the code red?
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth! Colonel Jessup, did you order the code red?
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth! Colonel Jessup, did you order the code red?
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
What's good? 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 Listen, people. I'm a little bit happy today. I'm really happy today. I am really, really happy today. And I'm going to tell you why I'm happy today. I have learned to let people say what they want to say. People have said it, and now, like we were always talking about, they can't take it back now. It's too late to take it back. So, before I start just going in, I want a couple more people to get in here, and because today, it all stops. And when I say it all stops, meaning that everybody done spoke their piece and everybody done put their claims in. Everybody done said what this is and what that is. And everybody done said this. So now that they said it and they can't pull it back, they have to leave it as that. And that's going to prove exactly what I've been talking about all this time. See, I'm so glad that on different channels, on different platforms, that people have said what they said and they know what they know, and and they're concrete with it right now. They're concrete. And I'm very, very glad that. I'm glad. So today, remember, I hope everybody has it in their mental Rolodex, the things that were said. I hope everybody has it in their mental Rolodex. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, so and foremost, peace, love, peace and love. And the first love shout out goes to Riri. She's been down and it's just, she's going to be so happy today when we finally put it to rest. We're going to put all these lies and stuff to rest. Now, I spoke to Princess, and she's not going to be able to be here for the first part of it. She's going to check in, but she's not going to be able to attend the first part of this session. And but she's going to check in because this session is basically dedicated to Princess and Mario and Bronxdale and the baby spades and the black spades. This section, this right here, this session, wow. So I already know I'm going to crush a lot of people's hearts. I'm going to make everybody rethink what they thought. It's going to make people understand what happened and why we got to this place. It's going to make people understand. Derek Falcus, peace. What's good? A lot of people are not here yet, so that's why I want to wait. Princess is here. Princess is here. Okay? And she's listening. Okay? So we have people that's here, and they're not, they're not tuning. They're not going to say anything or let it be known that they're here yet, which is cool. Because, see, what we've been saying for these last couple of weeks was that the truth is going to come out. No matter what, the truth is going to come out. And it's here. It's here. And so remember, during the last couple of weeks, people have been saying things and putting their claim in the time and saying certain things. So now there's no turning back. Once you made that claim, there is no turning back. It's out there. It's in the cyberspace. It's here. Okay. So we're just woo, man. I love it. So let's start going into it. Okay. Let's start going into it. So, and remember, like I said, these things were already said. So there's no turning back. So I want to start off by saying this, and then we're going to go into it, deeply into it. But we're going to go in starting with this. Now, there was a campaign, and look at the colors of the words disco and sucks. Look at the colors, because disco music, that was coming out a little bit as well, but disco music was a style. It was a brand. It was a type of music for a type of audience. Can I say it that way? Yes. It was a type of music for a type of audience. That's number one thing. Number one thing, that it was a type of music for a certain type of audience. So now, this is the greatest part. This is the greatest part of everything. What is disco music? Well, some people say that disco music came out 74, 75. That's when they say it came out. 75, 76, which I had said before. 75, 76. And when this music came out, this disco music came out, what we now know as hip hop was already out. And so that proves that the people that claim that disco hip hop came from disco, we're going to prove it right now that it did not. Had absolutely nothing to do with disco. Absolutely nothing. Okay, and why I'm so happy is because that proves exactly why we were who we were. That proves it. So if other people claim that disco was the catalyst for hip hop, you really have to think that, okay, so if it wasn't, and the people that were doing what the creation of hip hop was, there you go. That's the proof. That's the proof right there. Because the main thing about this whole situation, because I call it a situation, is that if you say that all the things from hip hop started way long time ago, okay? And you say that, you know, all of these things happen and hip hop just evolved, then obviously you're wrong. And why you're wrong is because there was a creation of hip hop just like anything else. There was a creation of it. So somebody can't say that, oh, jazz was here a long time ago and that's and it just evolved. Okay, so if it was here a long time ago, that means that it never was created. It never was created because it was here a long time ago. It was a long time ago, long time ago, long time. It was here. So it was never created. It was never. It just when they made the earth, jazz was here. That's it. So now we hear that the music that that influenced hip hop was actually here before. It was here. So that makes me feel so good. It makes me feel so good because that proves that Bronxdale, the Baby Spades, the Little Rascals, the Black Spades, Mario, we were different. We did something, the creation, that no one else ever had did. No one else could possibly have done it. Nobody. Because we didn't take disco and make something out of it. Because when we were doing it, when we were creating it, there was no disco. So let's look at some of the creation. Let's look at some of the records that created disco. I mean, who created hip hop. Okay. Pig Meat Markham, right? Pig Meat. That's not a disco record. That's a comedy record. It's a comedy record. It's not disco. It wasn't meant for you to go to the discotheque and play this. That's not what it was for. It was basically a record for adults to listen to because it was a comedy record. Moms Mabley, Red Fox, Richard Pryor, Bill Cosby. All of these records, Wild Man Steve, were adult records. That's what it was. It was adult records. So they were not disco records. They were not. James Brown. James Brown was a record that basically was not even meant to be a club record. It wasn't. There were very few establishments that could play James Brown. That's why they did concerts. That's why they did the Chitlin circuit, because it was not a variety of clubs. So remember, and this is where the catch is, remember, this is so makes it so great. In the early days, even at concerts, they would have a pink side and a brown side. If you went to a restaurant, you had to enter a certain way, a motel, a hotel, certain way. When you were at the venue, you had to come in the back door. So the places that these records were played were not discotheques. They were not discotheques. They were juke joints. They were shacks. They were places that you would see just us. You wouldn't see pink people. You would not see pink people. I'm talking about the early days. The only time you would see them is if they did a concert. So a concert venue is not a discotheque. Simple. A concert venue is not a discotheque. So, hey, FaZe. So why do they call it disco music? That's the question. Why are they calling James Brown, Pink Meek Markham? Even go up later, Millie Jackson. Where would Millie Jackson be played at? And this is later. This is after James Brown and Pink Meek. So these were records that concentrated on us. They concentrated on us, not the disco. They didn't even have a discotheque in mind when they created these records. So that shows right there. We were on a total different playing ground because it's already said that disco was the catalyst for hip hop. So those people that were doing disco music, discotheque music, didn't start when we started. Because when we started, when we created it, there was no disco records for us. We didn't start off with no disco records. We didn't start off with no Chic or Donna Summer or any of that. I heard Alicia Myers. When was that? That's not a part of the creation. That's way after. So what were the disco breaks that everybody's talking about? Good Times? That was a break. I Can't Stop? That was a break. Take Me to the Mardi Gras, Bob James, that was a break. But when did those breaks come in effect? Sure wasn't 70. Sure wasn't 71. So we admit now that their version of disco breaks came after the creation. It came after the creation. So now that gives Mario, that gives the Baby Spades, that gives Bronxdale the creation period. There's no other way to slice it. That if you say that it started with disco that they were playing the disco breaks, they were playing the records disco. Who was playing that? Not us. Not in 70 and 71. So okay. So go ahead. Take that. Say that you got that. I'm going to say you got it. You got disco breaks. You got it. Because that's not what it started from. Name one disco break in 70 and 71. Name one. I'll open up the comments. Name one disco record that was played in the creation, which is 70 and 71. Name one. Just one. I'll be satisfied if someone just names one. One disco record that was used as a break for hip hop. Now, I can even go as far as to say that a record that was played like the Motown era were played but weren't used as a catalyst, because Motown records, Barry Gordy, Jackson 5, Smokey Robinson, those were soul records, soul, not disco. Were not created to be played at a discotheque. Not created for that. See, because when they were created, remember, this is something that people act like didn't happen. People act like there was no banning people from coming to establishments, because we all know that back in those days, in the 60s, the 50s and 60s, there was no togetherness, right? There was no pink people mingling with the brown people and the brown people mingling with no. There was none of that. There was none of that, okay? So a discotheque, what was it? You had a discotheque for all pink people, and then you had a discotheque for all brown people? No. Because it was the brown discotheque would have been shut down. It would have been shut down. And you guys acting like, no, like I'm phasing saying something wrong. This is something wrong. You don't know? You don't know? You don't know that back then, to go into a discotheque, you had to be that color. So the music wasn't created for the disco. So why would it be called disco music? Why? It's not played in the discotheque. So why would it be called disco music? But see, this is what shows. This shows so much because we weren't playing disco records. We weren't playing disco breaks in 70 and 71. We were not. We were totally playing soul and funky music. And that's why we played James Brown. That's why we played James Brown. Because this is a music for us. James Brown's funk was for us, not people in the discotheque. No. James Brown records, 45s, were played privately. They were privately. So you go to a party, a house party, or you go to a juke joint, you're going to hear some James Brown. You're going to hear that. When you're in your house, you're going to hear that. You don't got to go to the discotheque to hear that James Brown because it done move, it done circulated in the street. And your cousin, your aunt, your uncle, they got James Brown. Big stash. They got it, and that's the funk. And that's what we started. We created putting that era, that collection of funky rhythms and funky drums to our type of dance. See, we put it to our type of dance. So everybody says, oh, they've been dancing like this in the 40s and the 50s. Yeah, they might have went to the floor. They might have did all of that. But they wasn't doing that to James Brown. They wasn't doing that. They were doing it. They were dancing on the floor. They were doing that, jumping up and down and everything. But listen to the music that they were doing it to. Listen to the music. Gotcha. I gotcha. And so we were doing it to our dance. So you can't say that, oh, it was doing this, it just evolved. It was no. Because you can go back and you can look and you can say, yeah, they doing that. But what are they doing it to? They're doing it to a complete band. They're doing it to complete music. They're dancing that way from the beginning to the end. So they didn't create what we were doing. They didn't create what we were doing because we didn't do that. We danced a certain way until that break came. Once that break came, damn it, we gonna do that. And so that was the creation right there. And then to do it on this certain part of the record and be able to talk junk on that part as well. Where was that? Where they did that at before? Where? They did that with disco breaks or did disco? They did that in the discotheque? They did that? They did that? Nah. So we created that. We created that. And that's the difference. That's why we know that we created something that nobody was ever doing before. Nobody was ever doing it before. Nobody was doing it before. So that's why it's our creation. And now everybody's mad right now. Everybody's mad right now because they already said that the catalyst for hip hop was disco DJ, disco music. All of these different Pete, DJ Jones, Flowers, all of them. Mario wasn't playing that. Mario was playing what he knew that was unique. And that's the difference. We were creating something that nobody had ever done. Nobody had ever done it. So that's why it's our creation. So everybody goes, well, they had this record before, and people were on the radio talking jive, and people were doing this and doing that. Yeah. But go back and listen to what they were doing it to. What were the brothers? Hold on, I got it. Hold on. The Jubilees, right? Yeah, they were singing rap. Right? And maybe, I got to check it out. Maybe if you put a break to it, maybe it would line up. Maybe. But that's not what they were doing. And it wasn't disco. He wasn't playing it for the disco. That's not what they were doing. So that's why it's our creation. It's the Baby Spades creation. It's the Little Rascals creation. It's Mario's creation. But now it's going to be so much. Oh, yeah, but they had this a long time ago. They were doing this this way a long time ago. This is what happened. Disco. Now, this is another thing that I have to say. What clubs were, as kids, we were going to? What clubs? In 70 and 71, what clubs were we going to that played this discotheque music? Because everybody's going to say, oh, there's Tunnel, there's this, there's that, there's this. Right? They're going to say that. How old did you have to be to go to the Tunnel? See, people just don't know. People just don't know. People just hear. People just say, oh, well, they were doing this, they were doing that. But they don't know. So our club was Club Carriage Room. Our club was in front of the building. Our club was the basketball court. Our club was Rosedale Park. Our club was 123. None of that was a discotheque. Not one place that I named was a discotheque. So we were not playing records that you would hear in a discotheque. So what made it disco music? What made it disco music? We never heard it in a discotheque because we ain't go to a discotheque. So what made it? So for somebody to say that the DJ that's putting this out is playing disco music, where? What? What disco music were they playing in 70 and 71? Because see, this is the problem. This is the problem. The problem is this. When people say what music is, they have to back up and say what the music is. So I already explained to you Pink Meat Markham is not a disco record. Number one thing, it wasn't created for the discotheque. It wasn't even created for pink people. I'll keep it on it. The things that he was saying was our slang. It was our slang. It was that you had to decipher it. You had to know what that jive talk was for you to know. So the actual record was made for us. It wasn't made for them to play in a discotheque, for them, everybody to hear. This person can hear it, that person can hear it. It wasn't made for that. It was made for us to say, yo, we just like yeah, and this is the other start. This is the other thing that's going to get people going to be mad at. Spanish people, Chinese people, you be in an elevator and they be talking about you like a dog. Because they know you don't know what they talking about. You don't have the slightest clue that they call you every dirty, nasty thing under the sun and smiling. Yeah, mighty gong. So we have that too. We have that, and it's called jive talking. And there's words that we create that a pink person, even a Spanish person, a Chinese person has to say, what the hell did he just say? What is he talking about? When the word joint came out, they didn't know what the hell the joint was. We make words still to the day. And then I have to go and ask a young person, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. And so the music that we created hip hop on wasn't meant for the outsiders. It wasn't meant for the people that wasn't us to know. When so-called rap came out, right? And just like now, they say with the mumble rap, right? You take that mumble rap and you play it for some pink people. And even you play it for us. You can play it for us. Now, the people that made it and the younger people that listen to it, they know exactly what the mumble words is. They know exactly what it is. Because it's in code. It's not made for the discotheque. It's not made for pink people to know what we were saying. So where is the disco? Where is the connection with disco and what we were doing, what we created? Where is the connection? And see, this is where I have to, I kind of have to be stern and give out some hard love because now I am elder to some of you. So I have to say, yo, listen, little brother, little sister, you going the wrong way. You going the wrong way. And so I gotta say it. I gotta say it because I didn't say it before. The whole thing with saying sock hop is a dance that's wrong. And I'm going to tell you why the research says dance. So before I prove it and show it to you, I just want to say this, that we heard these things before. We heard these things getting mixed up. We heard these things going in a different direction. But if I didn't love you, I would let you just go ahead and go in the wrong direction. I'll let you go in the wrong direction. So let's prove and show what it is. Because we were talking about something that had two meanings before. I remember we had that. And we said that it had these two meanings. Okay? So let's look. And before Wikipedia or Google or whatever, that was the meaning. This is the meaning. Okay. So, sock hop, the dance that they're saying is meaning that it started as an informal school-sponsored dance. That's what they meant by dance. It was a dance for teenagers. It wasn't break dancing. It could have been break dancing. It could have been the bunny hop. It could have been the funky chicken. It could have been all of those dances. The place where they gave it was the dance. So that's why they used to say, oh, you going to the sock hop? They didn't say you doing the sock hop. They said, are you going to the sock hop? So let's continue. The sock hop was an informal school-sponsored dance for teenagers, popularized in mid-20th century North America and heavily associated with the 50s. Okay? With the 50s. And what it was oh, what it was that They were forced to remove their shoes to protect the polished gymnasium or cafeteria floors. So they had to take off their shoes and dance the funky chicken, dance the twist, dance all of these different dances in their socks. In their socks. And that's why it was called the sock hop. That's why it was called the sock hop. Why are they called sock hops? Are they called sock hops? See, they're not saying, why is it called the dance sock hop? They're not saying that. They're not saying that at all, because it's not a dance. The dance is where it is put. The dance is in a cafeteria. The dance is in a gym. That's a school dance. Not the break dance. Not the Dougie. Not the funky penguin. Not the twist, the jitterbug, the bunny hop. It's not what it was. It was for floor protection. Schools held these dances. Read it again. Schools held these dances on expensive varnished wooden gym floors. Hard-soled shoes would scuff up or damage the polished wood. So they would make them take off their shoes and dance in their socks. See, but I love and I love not. And don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. What I love is teaching, especially the younger generation from me. Because yes, my generation was taught some gangster shit. We was taught some survival shit. But you younger people don't have to go through what we went through. And that's what I love. That's what I love. To see that you don't got to go through what we went through. You don't got to get chased down the block with chains and bats and knives and guns and all that. You don't got to do that. So that's what I get a kick out of. Because some of us will say something and don't understand why. See, one thing I gotta say, and I believe it, when I say I'm proud, I am proud to say it. That there were kids in Bronxdale that were considered normal kids. They were normal kids in Bronxdale, normal. The ones that created hip hop were not normal. We were nowhere near normal. We did some incredible, just outlandish things that no kid our age should have done. Some kids our age, my age, were kids, were doing things that adults didn't get a chance to do. So we were a different breed. So someone says, oh, so all the kids did this or whatever. No. We were different. And that's why it's so different and people can't understand it. People can't understand. And so, like I said, you know what? And it's so crazy. I have to look at the comments because that's what be happening. That be happening. Hold on, let me just put something. Hold on. Okay. Yes, I have to look at the comments because that's what messes me up all the time. I don't look at people's comments and they're asking me questions and stuff like that. Okay. Okay, so let's go back to the top. Let's go back to the top. All right. Peace to the Most High. Peace. Okay, I see that one in there, but I'm not even gonna address that because that's probably a new name that they had to get just to be in my live. So I'm not even gonna address that. Okay. China Black is here. DJ Biggs is here. Okay. All right. So I was doing good. I was doing real good. Okay. So back to what I was saying. Dancing in socks. Attendees were required to take off their shoes, leaving them to dance in their socks. So that's what the sock hop was. So that's why I say that a couple of people might have it confused. And a couple of people might have it confused as to why hip hop was named hip hop. And some people might be confused at why Bambaataa used the term hip hop. See, because I said it before, that it wasn't basically the dance of hip hop. It wasn't that. It wasn't that it was because Bambaataa named it that. It wasn't. When the term hip hop was said, it was because of the genre, not even what was done. It was the genre. So till today, even till today, notice that the music that is being done has a genre, has a name. Trap music is a genre of music. Hip hop was a genre of what we were doing. We were taking all kinds of records, all kinds of records. We were taking all kinds of records, and we were using these records for what we were doing. We were using these records to dance the way we wanted to dance, to talk the way that we wanted to talk, even dress the way we wanted to dress. That might have flew over people's head, but it's true. And so the reason why it became everything jobbed up into one is because of the music that was selected. So remember, I was talking about the slang. That was from the music. That was from the music that was selected. So what was that music? What was that music that was selected? Okay. I put this up for a reason. Okay. Put that up for a reason. Okay. That's what we did. That's the music that we wanted. We didn't want the whole record. And that's the difference. We necessarily really didn't, particularly like a lot of the rest of the record that we have. See, this is the catch. If you say that disco was the catalyst for hip hop, then you have to say gospel is the catalyst. Jazz is the catalyst. Funk is the catalyst. Country music is the catalyst. The blues is the catalyst. See, you have to say that because you use the word disco. And if you're a disco DJ, if you are a DJ, you play what the audience wants to hear. So if you only play in one genre of music, you're a whack DJ. You whack. You whack. But then to jumble all of the genres and put it to disco is super whack. I said it. Point blank, period. You're super whack. Because number one thing is, what about the people that create a record that they don't want to cross over? They created the record to be exactly what they wanted to be. So they created a blues record, and then somebody just come along and say, "Yo, that's a disco record. That's a disco record." Bobby Blue Bland, I said, "You didn't make no blues record. You made a disco record." So those people, go back and tell them that. Say, "Yo, that's a disco record." The rock breaks, because there's Styx, Kiss, Cream, Van Halen, all of them have breaks. And so those are disco breaks? Nah. So these soul records, these James Brown records, those are disco records. They're disco records, right? Because a disco DJ is playing them. So they're disco records. They're disco records, people. So When people say, I understand, do you really understand what's going on here? Do you really understand what the difference is between what we did and what we created and what other people did? Do you understand the difference? Do you understand that it's an insult? It's an insult to say that Mario was a disco DJ. It's an insult to say that the Baby Spades were playing disco music. It's an insult. That's an insult. And to say I understand what someone is talking about, that where the discotheque, what the meaning of is talking about, that's an insult to us because we created it. We created it. We know that hip hop word was there way before Bam even said something about it. We know it because we were there. We were there. We know why what we were doing was named hip hop. We know why there was a sock hop, why you go to a sock hop. We knew that. We know what the genre of bebop was. We knew that. We knew what the dance, the bunny hop, was. We knew that. So, in reality, hip hop was the music that we were doing what we were doing and what we were creating. We were there. We were there in 70 and 71. We were there. We were right there creating it. We were right there creating it. We know for a fact that hip hop had nothing to do with the discotheque. We knew that it had nothing to do with disco music, the disco scene. Nothing about the creation of hip hop was disco. Disco, nothing. Now, if you want to say hip hop was started in 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, the 80s, if that's when you feel like that's when hip hop was started, go ahead. Go ahead. Mario didn't start there. We damn sure didn't start there. And we created it. We created hip hop. The other DJs, the other people weren't doing what we created. They were not. Nowhere. Nowhere. And so now this is the funny part. We're supposed to say, yeah, I could see that's why they say this, or yeah, I understand that this is why. No, we don't understand. And we won't say that. We're not going to say that. We'll never say that we were disco DJs. We'll never say that. We were baby spades. We're black spades. We know. The only time in our creation of this thing called hip hop, the only time that we could play anything that might be public, I'll say public, is number one, towards the end of the jam. Because the meat of it, we were playing hip hop music. We were playing the Stone Cold Funk. That's what we were playing. No disco. And the talk about on the one, okay, that's the difference. You see those three pieces is us. And the one and the in between the one and the two and the in between the two and the three and the in between the three and the four is what we rocked. And that's the difference. That's the difference. That is the difference from what Flowers was doing, what Hollywood, with Pete DJ Jones, with all of them. That's the difference of what we created. That's not disco. That's not disco. That didn't belong in the discotheque. That's not, I want to thank you, Heavenly Father. That's not good times. It's not that. Boom, boom, da boom, boom, back, boom, boom, ba boom, 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 back, boom, boom, ba boom. That's not disco. That's not disco. So if we're playing that, what makes us a disco DJ? What? Wow. Show me. And boom, boom, ba boom, ba boom, boom, ba boom, 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 ba boom, boom, ba boom. Show me where that's in a disco. Show me where that's in a discotheque. Because it has to be played on the discotheque for it to be disco, right? Disco music, right? So show me where that is played in a disco for us to be a disco DJ. That's the difference. So yeah, other people could have been disco DJs. Fine. Good. Y'all said that already. Y'all said that they were disco DJs. But they didn't create hip hop. We created hip hop, and we were not disco DJs. We created hip hop. I can say it a million times. We were not disco DJs. Mario was not a disco DJ, and we created hip hop. We were not disco DJs. We didn't play disco music. We created hip hop. We did what nobody had ever done before. I'm so glad. Listen, I am so glad now. I am so glad because all that proves is we were not what other people were. They were disco DJs. Babyface, Little Rascals wasn't disco DJs. We were not. So yes, we created. So what we did was we created something we created it. We're the start. We're the beginning of what is now called hip hop. Because we created it. We created that realm. We created that together. We created that. We did that. So other DJs, the disco DJs that was here before, they didn't create what we were doing because they was disco DJs. Thank you. Thank you, people. Thank you. Because we finally proved it. We finally proved that Mario, the Black Spades, Bronxdale, created hip hop. We just proved it. Because DJ Jones, DJ Flowers, Hollywood, these were all disco DJs. They played at a discotheque and they played disco music. Ha! I love it. We did, and we proved a sock hop was an informal school-sponsored dance for teenagers. It wasn't a dance. It was the dance. The dance for teenagers. That's what the discotheque was. It was a school dance. So in the discotheque, you have all kinds of music. At a school dance, you have all kinds of dances. You had to take off your shoes because you wasn't going to mess up their polished gymnasium and their cafeterias. Ooh. You wasn't going to do that. You wasn't going to take your heels and scuff up their newly polished floors. You wasn't going to do that. So the people that named this named it after they were doing it. They named it after they were doing it. So the name was created for what they were doing. Obviously. We were hip. You got bebop. You got doo-wop. So we did hip hop. Way before Bambaataa. Way before. And like I said, it makes me feel so good that I was one of those baby spades. Oh my God, it feels so good to know that I was one of those kids in Pathmark hustling. I was one of those kids. I was one of those kids that had British Walkers, Playboys, Gold Medallion, Quarterfields, AJs, Overlaps, Mock Necks, Sway Fronts, Sway Pockets, AJs with the V in the back, Shark Skins. I was one of those kids. I was behind the ropes, not on the other side of the ropes. When I danced, people looked around, okay? I was one of those kids that when we danced, the people would come and look, say, oh, snap. I was a kid that put a record on the turntable and people said, yo, that's bad. I was one of those kids. So that's why I'm so happy. I'm so happy. So I understand that no, we wasn't disco. No. It wasn't discotheque. No. Hip hop was the genre of music. It was the music that we were playing. It was a combination of gospel music. It was a combination of funk, soul, what they call R&B, rhythm and blues. There's a classical break. You know what classical music is? Like Beethoven, Mozart, and all that? There is a break, a drum break. This classical. This is a classic record. A classical record. And that's what we played. We played these records from all over. We played these records that nobody had, nobody heard. So disco DJs heard records from radio, from this, from that. The records that we dug for, that we went all over the place to find. They didn't play that at the discotheque. They didn't play that at the discotheque. No. When I play breaks now, When I'm somewhere out DJing and I play the breaks, it's a total different thing. It's a total different thing. Total different vibe. When I play at my event and I throw on some breaks, I know that the people ain't heard it, never heard it, whatever, Lord. Shoot. You see Young Black? Black couldn't contain himself. He went out there and it was like, yo, FaZe, what we doing that, boy? What? Little Keith got on the floor like, what? Bam, boom. I'm throwing the dice. That ain't disco. It's not disco. We were not disco DJs. And to name those breaks, those disco breaks, means that that's your beginning. That's not how it was created. That's your beginning. Some people look at Sugar Hill and say, because that's what they heard, and say, Sugar Hill Gang is the creation of hip hop, of rap. They took Chic and made rappers delight. Thank you for just showing us that we was not like none of y'all. We was not like the rest. We were not like the rest. We were not disco DJs. We didn't have disco breaks. Back then, we didn't have no disco breaks. None. 70, 71, 72, we didn't have no disco breaks. There was nothing disco about none of the stuff that we created hip-hop for. Not one record. Not one. You can't call Pig Meat Markham disco. You can't call James Brown disco. You can't call Rufus Thomas disco. You can't call none of the breaks that we had disco breaks. So where's the disco? You couldn't, the records that we had, you couldn't bring to a disco. The disco DJ wouldn't play it. And that's the difference. Oh man, I got him. We knew that if we stopped and didn't say something, that people were going to show their card. People were going to show and say this and say that, which proves our point. It proves our point. That's why we created how we created what we created. Because we wasn't doing what everybody else was doing. We wasn't rocking how everybody else was rocking. We wasn't dancing like how everybody else was dancing. We wasn't dressing how everybody else was dressing. We set the trend. And everybody got to follow what we say. Oh, man. Now, I go back and I look at this stuff and I look at those records. I was like, yep. Till this day, they don't got this record. They don't got this record. They don't know what this record is. They don't know. Okay, I'll take some more comments and I'm out of here. I'm out of here. We did it. We did it. We did it. We did it. And we had to show the difference. We had to show the difference. We had to show that everybody in Bronxdale wasn't us. See, Little Rascals were Little Rascals. Baby Spades were Baby Spades. But there were other kids there that weren't Baby Spades. They weren't Little Rascals. They might not have gone from the first section to the second section to the third section and beyond. Beyond. We used to ride our bikes to Castle Hill, to Soundview, to Monroe, to Portchester, Lafayette, Hunts Point. We used to ride our bikes. Lamberg. We used to fish in Lamberg as kids. We used to fish. We would go to Freddy's Pizza Shop, and we would go to the Army and Navy store, Westchester Square, and get the hooks. And we could go to Freddy's on Westchester Avenue Pizza Shop and get some dough and put the dough on the hook and the line and go near Lamberg and fish in the stream, in the water, in the river, and pull out fish. Kids. We were kids. We were little kids. Now, all the kids in Bronxdale didn't do that. They didn't. I know there were a lot of kids in Bronxdale that couldn't come to Pathmark and do what we were doing, make money. They couldn't. It's simple. They could not. So is it really that strange that there was a group of kids that could do that, and came up with something and created stuff? As a perfect example, we were never just these regular kids. Never. And now it shows. It shows. It shows. Mario wasn't a regular DJ. Mario was not a regular DJ, point blank, period. He was not a regular DJ. I say it 1,000,000 times. Mario was not a regular DJ. He didn't play regular music. I know. It's the reason why I'm laughing is because, like I said, I was there, so I know that we made something that nobody could duplicate, nobody could create the way we created it, and that's it. That's it. And so now people want us to be regular. People want us to say, "Oh yeah, it was everybody was a disco DJ, and that's where it started a whole bunch long time ago." And the sock hop is a dance, and and we can't do that. We cannot keep the lie. That's why it's a lie. That's why we're the creators, because we don't have to lie about what we created. We don't have to change dates. We don't have to say this, that. We don't have to say we use records that are past the creation. We don't have to say that. We don't have to say there was equipment that wasn't there at that time. We don't. Because we know exactly what was used, how it was used, and what it was done. We know. I got the equipment. I show you guys the equipment that was used and when he got it. I showed you. I showed pictures of it. And I showed it, me in my hand having it and picking it up and showing it. The exact equipment that was used. So I don't have to guess. I don't have to guess that this might have been worked or this might have did that. I don't have to guess. I already told you about cutting and scratching. I already told you about the tempos. I don't have to make none of that stuff up. I lived it. I know it. I seen it. And so it's like I said, oh my God, man. Oh my God. I'll say it one more last time. One more time. Mario, nor the Baby Spades had anything to do with disco music. We had nothing to do with the discotheque. Mario is proud of me right now. I know that Mario is proud of me. I know Mario's right saying, yo, Booby, don't let them put that on me. Don't put that name on me. I know it. I know Black Willie, Curly, Reggie Malcolm, they proud of me. Blackjack, proud of me. They say, yo, Booby, you know what we did. You know what we was about. Don't let them water down our stuff. Don't let them say just anything. And that's what's happening. And so now, when the truth is out, because like I said, I'm not, y'all not the only ones that know how to let people put the noose on their neck and hang themselves. I'm not the only one that could do that. I did it. So it was the catapult to hip hop was supposed to have started with disco. No. The music that was playing before hip hop was created was disco. No. So now, and the dates, 1970 and 1971, I've always said it. What is known as hip hop now was created in 1970. It was created in 1970. It was released to the public in 1971. And those are the dates that I've been saying from the jump. No changing, no going back and making it this date, and none of that. I still play drums to yesterday. I still do this. I still do that from the 60s, and I keep it in the pocket. I keep it in the pocket, and I do my stuff, and we broke dance to it. We broke dance to it. We broke dance on time. That's why I say, y'all can call it breakdancing, whatever y'all want to, but it ain't breakdancing. So I'm supposed to say, yeah, that's what they're doing, breakdancing. No, they're not. I'm supposed to say, okay, well, you know what, that's what they call it, do whatever. No, I'm not, and I never will. What part of y'all don't understand when I say never, ever, 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 ever will I say that? Because they're not breakdancing. They're not dancing to the break, and they're not using the break as what they're doing it to, the tempo and the stuff that they're doing. They're spinning on their head. No timing. Where's the timing in spinning on your head? Where's the timing of spinning on your back? Where's the timing of just doing a flip? Where is the timing? What does that have to do with the break? What does it have to do with the break? It's called break dancing, right? Break dancing. What does what they're doing have to do with the break? So I'm supposed to say they break dancing. No, I'm a baby spade. For life. I was there. I'm a part of it. I'm supposed to say, no, you just take our name, run and do something else, but just take our name. What kind of baby spade would I be? And so when the truth comes out, then it's, oh no, wait a minute, hold on, hold on. What? I hear you. What you said? No. That ain't what we did. We created breakdancing. What y'all doing? We created the style in which we use the music, the records that was already there. We created the style in which the way we used it. We created. How old is gospel music? Gospel music catapulted hip hop. There's a famous, people don't know to this day, a famous gospel break. So was we all playing gospel? Was we playing gospel records? Was the gospel records played in the discotheque? Was the gospel, to answer that question, was the gospel records that we played with the break played in a discotheque? If you would have played the rest of the record in the discotheque, not only would you ever heard the term shoot the DJ, they'd be done shot the DJ. Talking about you playing this in a discotheque. So if you're not playing it in a discotheque, how did it get to be disco music? So now there's a difference. Oh, there's a difference now. So you're saying that discotheque is what made it disco music, right? Because that's what you're saying. You're saying if it was played in a discotheque, then it's disco music. Is that what you're saying? Is there, can you say that now? Say it. Say that if it was played in a discotheque, that means it's disco music. Woo! 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 What qualifies it to be a disco DJ? What qualifies it to be a disco DJ? Does a disco DJ play disco music? Does a disco DJ play the music that is played at a discotheque? Because remember, disco catapulted hip hop. Remember, and please don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at me. Please don't be mad at me. But remember, sock hop was a dance. And when I say dance, I mean that was not a dance that you go to, a dance. So a baby spade that knows different comes on and says the truth, and it's get phase out of here. Get phase out of here. This ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work. You got to change something. This ain't gonna work. No, don't let face talk no more. No, don't let face talk no more. Because face ain't gonna say the lie. He ain't gonna say that lie. Nah. And like I said, see, one thing that I must say, and listen, I don't think that I don't love Paradise. Number one thing is I love him because he even acknowledged Mario. Okay, he acknowledged Mario. Him and Pete Nice, they acknowledge Mario. They know Mario. They don't know him, but they know what he contributed to. Paradise lived in Bronxdale. So why wouldn't I love him? And this is what somebody even said the other day. If other projects or something is coming to Bronxdale to fight, if you outside and you don't fight with Bronxdale, when you do come outside, you would have got it. You would have caught one. All right? You would have got Willie lumped. All right? So that's what I'm telling people till today. That even if you didn't want to be a spade, you might have been put in a position where you had to be a spade because you live in this projects. You live here. This is our kingdom. This is our village. And so we're not going to let even people in our projects say something that is wrong. We're not going to do that. And that's wrong to call Mario a disco DJ. If you call Mario a disco DJ, then you put him with all the rest of the DJs. He's in a category with the rest of them. If you put us as not the original break dancers, then you put us in the same category with these non-break dancers. And we're totally not that. We weren't the regular kids that just be a kid, regular kid. We weren't doing that. You know, I hate to say it, and I know I'm probably gonna regret saying it, right? But I've said it before. Some kids don't have sex until they're adult. Some kids don't have sex until after they're teenagers. Some kids don't hustle until after they're adults. So I say that because kids are different. All kids are different. And so we might have been the kids that created our own pool table. You had to do what we did to sit at the table. And so there were other kids from the same where we were from, but couldn't sit at the table. It's simple. Not saying that they were bad kids or terrible kids or nerds or whatever. No. They just couldn't sit at our table. They weren't with our group that considered to be cool. And that's not a problem. That's not nothing to look down on. And it's not. Mario was not a regular DJ. He was not. So for us to just say, nah, he was just a regular DJ. It's an insult to him. Okay, I'm gonna take a couple more comments and that's out because I promise you, I was not gonna stay on here. I got things to do, and but I had to. Because that, my friends, is the truth. That you can research and do all you want to do. But the bottom line is, that's the truth. We were not like everybody else. We did not create something. We created something. And that's the difference. Just like I said, there were some people that created every genre of music. Every genre. There were some people that created every language that is spoken. There were some people that created. It didn't just, when they made the earth, made language. People created it. And for somebody to say, no, they were doing this in the 60s and the 40s and the 30s and whatever. Nah. They wasn't doing what we did. They wasn't doing what we created. Point blank, period. So we shouldn't take credit for what we did, what we created. We got to say, oh, no, they were doing this a while ago, whatever. And that, no. Nah. We'll never do that. And if Mario was here, you tell him, yo, y'all didn't create that. Y'all didn't do that. What? And that's where it is. So I'm glad that I'm one of the creators. I'm glad that I know what I did. I'm glad that I know what my friend did. My friends did. I know what Mario was doing. I know that. All right, y'all. Let me look at a couple more. Oh, man, a couple of people came in, too. Paul Roberts, peace. Paul Roberts, Most High, peace, came in. DJ Biggs came in, peace. Scoreboard Keepers is here, peace. Love you, Scoreboard. Love you, for real. JG is here, peace. Love you, JG. Love you. All right, Derek, I already gave you the props. All right, you there, you here. You in here. All right. Okay. Woo. Yeah, Akeem is here. He's in the building. Yo, see, Akeem always got some snaps, yo. He said my shirt looked like a salmon. Now look, now that's the difference. You see, now what Akeem just did, right, is what we are. He said a funny joke, and I have to laugh because it's funny. That's something funny. I don't got to get mad at him. I can't call him a hater. I can't do none of that because that's his sense of humor, and he did it, and that's what we were, people. So Akeem, he would have been right there with us, snapping. And everybody ain't like that. And that's the difference. Everybody ain't like what Akeem just did. There's a difference. And that's what I try to get people to understand. And because maybe you weren't there or didn't, sometimes it's hard for you to understand. But as soon as he said that about a salmon, and I looked at the shirt, and I was like, yo, going. He got me. Akeem got me with the salmon joke. Then he got me. Like, there's no turning back. There's no nothing that I can say that he didn't get me. And by him saying that to me, people don't understand, that brings him closer. Because he's showing me that he built the same, like the way I'm built. The way we were, the way we do. And that's the difference, people. That's the difference. They get so mad at me because they're not built that way. They get so mad at me because they don't understand what I'm talking about. They get so mad at me because they didn't live that life. So it's unfathomable to them. They don't understand. They don't understand why we are so against saying something that we know is not true. Y'all now see, I hope you come to the on the 25th to my event, because whatever you wear, you gotta have on everything dressed to the T. Like everything gotta be in everything, because I will get you back for that one. I am gonna snap on you, believe, trust, and believe it when I see you. He said I look like a salmon. Oh my God, making him hungry. Oh my God, y'all. That's what I love, yo, and that's for real. Okay, KK Johnson said the amen break. I wasn't gonna say it, but they said it. All right, now KK. Since you know about the amen break, right? How would Hurt catch amen break? Where did they play? What discotheque did they play amen? What discotheque, what disco DJ play amen? Gospel record. Gospel record. What about amen was disco? See, now we get to the nitty gritty. See, now we get to the nitty gritty. See, now we understand. Now we understand why I get so infuriated when we say that Mario was a disco DJ or I was a disco DJ or Little Rascals was disco. Perfect example. Show me one discotheque back when that record was created, played at a discotheque. I'll wait. I will wait. I will wait. See, because one thing, look. Man, see, and this is people. Do you understand why things are the way they are now? Do you understand? Because if this whole lie was corrected when it was started, it wouldn't be here today. If the whole lie that said Puerto Ricans were with us and helped create hip hop, or that they're doing breakdance, if we had corrected it it wouldn't be here today. And so now that it went this far, I look like Scrooge because I'm correcting it. Because I'm correcting the lie. So now I look like Scrooge because I'm telling you guys, ain't no such thing as Santa Claus. Your mom and dad and your aunt, your uncle was Santa Claus. And y'all are mad at me because I told y'all that there's no such thing as Santa Claus. So y'all are mad at me. There's no such thing as Santa Claus. There's no such thing as Santa Claus. There's no such thing as disco DJs creating hip hop. No such thing. There's no such thing as a dance, little dance called the Saka. Hey, first class citizen is here. First class citizen is here. In the building. In the building. But first class citizen, I had to. I would not be a baby spade if I continue to let these things go on. I can imagine what they're going to say about me now. I can imagine. I can imagine what they're going to say about FaZe now. Oh, God. I can imagine. Okay. And yes. You know, first class citizen says, let me put that up there. Because let me explain to you something about these, what you call tethers. See, if they didn't want to be us so bad, these people, if they didn't want to be us so bad, they wouldn't be here to comment. They want to be known so bad. They want us to acknowledge them so bad that they have to come. They cannot get the notification that FaZe is on and not come. They could not do it. That's like an attic. You could put some dope in front of an attic and think that they're going to do the dope. That's what addiction is. They're addicted to something. And these tethers or trolls or whatever you want to call them are addicted to us. They're addicted to our lives. You know why scoreboard stuff was getting taken down? You know why? You really want to know why? Because number one thing is, when you have someone that is addicted to something and they build a reputation, they build whatever you want to call a personality, or they build this on their addiction. If you take any of that away from them, they can't take it. That's just like going to a heroin addict, showing him heroin, and taking it away from him. So now the heroin for them was the fact that people were listening to them. People were actually saying, oh yeah, they're right. They're listening and listening. And that was the heroin for them. That was the heroin. Being noticed, being known, being in the hip hop conversation, being their name said, being all of that was the heroin. So now Scoreboard Keepers comes along and takes that away. Take it away from them. They don't have no heroin no more. But they see the heroin dealer is there. They see that the truth is there. But the truth don't have nothing to do with their lie. So they're non-existent anymore. Because the truth knocked the lie to the side. And that's what these trolls are. They can't troll anymore. Because there's nothing to troll to. There's no lie to look up to. And just like I learned from Scoreboard Keepers, I had to let people talk. I had to let them talk because now they can't take it back. They made a commitment. Ain't that what you say, Ref? They made a commitment to say something. So that's why the trolls are there, first-class citizen. They can't get lost. They can't, not even if they try. That's like a fiend withdrawing. If they see I'm on right now, they're like, I gotta go. It's calling me. It's calling me. He's calling me. and then this is the key part. So now that he's here, they have to acknowledge that they're there. So you know what hurts them the most is if they write a whole bunch of bullshit and nobody says one word to them. That's how you make them cry. That's how they cry real tears. They cry real tears. They're really crying because nobody said their name. Nobody acknowledged their comment. Nobody said nothing. And that's what they that's showing them the heroin, but not giving it to them. That's giving them crack and don't give them a lighter. Oh God. Oh God. Right. But tellers are quick to get mad at jokes like that. They're not like us. They're not. And that's why the Puerto Ricans get so mad when I talk about their high waters, or I talk about their patent leather shoes, or I talk about the Cuchafritos or the roaches. And they hate that. They hate it with a passion. And that what makes me racist. That what makes me a bad person, a no good person. Because I snapped. I got on a orange salmon looking shirt, and that's the color. The color is salmon. Salmon polo. So, and that's what even makes it more funny. Even Jamaicans. You snap on a Jamaican, they'll be so mad. They'll be so mad, like what you talk about. Chuh, your blood clot, what? You're disrespectful when you snap on them. Disrespectful. Because they're not built like us. They're not. Princess, I told you. I told you, Princess. I told you. There ain't nothing they could say now about Mario, your father. There's nothing they could say right now. Nothing. Because they proved that Mario wasn't your regular DJ. They proved that Mario was in a block by itself. They proved it. They proved that the Baby Spades were different than anybody else in the world. We were different. They proved it. They proved it for us, Princess. They would be the FBA musicians of modern times that embodied their spirits. I believe so. I believe so. That is a very family looking shirt, DJ Faze, no lies. Too late. Akeem already did your snap, so you read the snap. You gotta come up with your own snaps. First class citizen, gotta come up with your own snap. Akeem already did it. He already used that snap. He already used it. Stop regurgitating snaps. First class citizen, stop regurgitating snaps. Okay. That's it. Tether can tell us about our history, the irrelevant swagger jackets. Yeah. And I don't think that that's not their intention. Their intention is like, because look, now think about it. If these people didn't love us so much, well, not love us, envy us so much, if they didn't want to be us so bad, they wouldn't have us on notification. They wouldn't. We don't do it. Now, do we? How many, and I'm just going to keep it 100. How many people that are here right now subscribe to a Spanish station? How many people that's here right now listen to a Spanish radio station? How many people that are here right now have any Spanish records? How many people right now would dress Spanish? How many people would have Jamaican radio stations, Jamaican records? How many people would have Chinese records in their house? Would dress like the Chinese? Would dance like the Chinese? How many people in here right now would do that? So we wouldn't go to anything that we don't do. But yet and still, they're here every single time. Name one time that I ever came on. And they weren't here. Name one time. Name one time that we ever did a live or anything and they didn't come. Name the times that we never went over there. I never go over there. Never. Never. Because I don't want nothing there. They have to want. They want this. They want to be able to say, "Yo, FaZe, you got on us. You're making me hungry with your salmon shirt." They want to be able to do that. They want to be able to understand that we had James Brown, Rufus Thomas, Isaac Hayes, Barry White, Teddy Pendergrass, Quincy Jones, Jackson 5, all of that. Silvers, Shalimar, all of that in our house. They want to be able to say that, but they can't. They want to be able to say that their father never had a pair of white patent leather shoes. Jamaicans want to be able to say that their father wore socks. They want to be able to say that so bad. Yo, my dad wore socks. I don't know what you're talking about. My pop's socks didn't look like baby powder. What you talking about? They want to be able to say that. But they can't say that. So that infuriates them. They want to be able so bad. And that's why they're here. That's why that other dude is always here and always going, because he wants that to know, to be able to be a part of. That's why they're here. They cannot not be here, people. They cannot. These trolls, these whatever you want to call them, tethers, whatever you want to call them, they cannot not be here. They cannot see us doing something, talking about something, and not come in. They cannot do that. So that's it. I know I keep on saying that's it, but y'all keep on doing some more comments. Yeah, we're the tethers. How many names do the tethers have? Princess just said it's so good. All in our Kool-Aid, but don't know the flavor. All in the Kool-Aid, but don't know the flavor. Right. Hey, this is the catch right here. No more explaining to guests in our culture, especially those who don't want to listen. Right. 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 We're not going to explain it to them no more. Right. You're not getting nothing. You're not getting nothing. You're not getting our slang. You're not getting nothing. You don't know our words that we be saying. Disco was supposed to be mainly for pink people. Disco was supposed to be for pink people. It was supposed to be for the public. It was supposed to be for people that go to discotheques. It was supposed to be, that's what disco music was formed for. James Brown, Picnic Markham was created for us. It was created for us. It wasn't disco. It was created for us. We shouldn't have to explain that. We really shouldn't. We shouldn't have to say that disco was made for them and James Brown was made for us. I tell you what, I would have loved to see the places that Picnic Markham sung at or performed at. I would have loved to see that. And I can guarantee you the guests, if they came, he would have got them. He would have got them. He would have got them. For all the clubs and stuff that he couldn't go into, all the restaurants and motels and hotels that he couldn't go into, he would have got them. Without a doubt. That's the Rubik's Cube. That's the Rubik's Cube. Our music. That was the Rubik's Cube. Disco was just a regular record. Discotheque was for regular people. It was for regular people. Disco music was for regular people. For regular. That's my new thing. That's my new thing. Disco and discotheque were for regular people. We were not regular. We were so far away from regular. We were not regular. And that's it. That's the catch right there. JG, you know what I'm talking about. First Class Citizen, you know what I'm talking about. Princess, you know what we talk about. China Black, you know what I'm talking about. We were not regular. Disco is for regular people. And some of them are not really even regular. They're somewhere else. They're on a whole different plateau. That disco music played all in the village. Village people. We're not regular people. Slang, Isaiah Peace was good. Slang, different. Dance, different. Everything about us different. Different. It's nasty work now that they got me forever looking at them sideways because of these lies. They used to try to steal our credit. Right. Right. Right, first class citizen. Right. Right. And remember, we always said that we wasn't regular. So how, if you with us, how could you put us in a regular box? You're not with us if you put us in a regular box. We're not regular. Woo! We haven't heard from China Black. Let's see what's it. Facts. We do not subscribe to or sit on the edge of our seats waiting for ops to go live just to troll them from channel to channel. Exactly. Thank you, China Black. Thank you, China Black. Thank you, China Black. Thank you. So now think about it. Think about that. Just everybody read what China Black just said. The comment that China Black just made. Everybody read that. Read that straight away and think about it. They sit on the edge of their seats waiting for us to come on just so they control. And they go to all of our channels. They go to Scorekeepers. They go to Truth Savior. They go to my channel, the grandfathers of hip hop. They go everywhere we are. They go to troll. Everywhere else. Why don't they go to where they're wanted? Why don't they go on their platforms? Why do they have to come over here? Why? You want to know why? Do you really want to know why? They wish they were us so bad. They wish they could get away with rocking a salmon shirt so bad. They wish that. They wish that someone could snap on their salmon shirt and they laugh at it. They wish so bad for that. When Akeem said it, listen, there was no hesitation or nothing, people. Y'all know. As soon as I read it, I laughed right off the bat. Like right off the bat. And there was no hesitation. I didn't have to go. I didn't say, yo, oh, that's terrible. I wasn't serious or whatever. I just straight up laughed because it was funny. And the hesitation was, it wasn't a hesitation, but as soon as he said it, I pictured a salmon, my shirt. Like, I pictured that, right? And as soon as I pictured it in my mind, I laughed. And that brought us, that snap, just that snap alone, brought me and Akeem close to each other. And they don't have that. They could never have that. They could never have that feeling. They could never have experience that thing. They could never experience that. And that's why they're here. Right. Now, listen. Thank you, first class citizen. Thank you. Thank you, China Black. Thank you. How many of us have ever watched a show on Telemundo. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how old you are. But how many of us ever watched a show on Telemundo? I can honestly say, me, I have never, if I'm changing the channel and Telemundo comes on, I never even stopped to see what was going on. I never, ever in my life stopped to see what was on Telemundo. Now, how many of them could say that about BT or whatever else we have? Name one of them that could do that. Nah, I don't think so. Okay. All right. So oh God. Okay. Okay, I wanna look at this. Let's examine what this is said because I didn't really get it. Okay. Disco was low key made to fight and replace funk. Funk was too black and made militant. Prideful sentiments is too real. I can agree with you. I can agree with you. And I can also agree to say that disco was made for pink people. I can actually say that the disco beat was made for pink people and Spanish people and Jamaican people and Chinese people. All people but us. I could really say that disco music was made for everyone else but us. Perfect way to put it. So if it wasn't made for us, why were we disco DJs again? Now, two people, right, that are supposed to be really into hip hop. Two people that we really, really feel has a great part of hip hop said these things, said that disco was the catapult for hip hop. Two people. Now, I hope and pray that these two people will come back to me and say, FaZe, I was wrong. You were right. I didn't look at it that way. I didn't unlock the Rubik's Cube that way. I didn't. And I thank you. I thank you for giving us the key to unlock it so that I could come right in. That's what I'm expecting. And that's true scholarship. That's true scholarship. Because everything that I said today is a pure fact. Everything that I said today is the real fire. See, fire is fire. You could paint what fire looks like, but it's not fire. What I said today is pure fire. It's real. It's the truth. So anyone that thought different after hearing the truth, even if they don't say it to me, they should say it to themselves. Wow. I never looked at it like that. I never looked at it like that. Thank you, FaZe, for showing me. And that's it. All right, Akeem, you got any more jokes? Huh? You got any more jokes? Don't try to rub that shirt in their faces, FaZe. See, Akeem, what you started, man. That made me want to go change my shirt right now, but I'm not. I'm rocking this shirt for the break of dawn. Leave my shirt alone. Leave my shirt alone. And right, JG, never, ever, 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 ever will I commit to saying a lie. Never. Never. Okay. We haven't heard from Paul. Hey, Paul. Let me tell you something, man. You gonna stop making those videos, yo. Because I'm not gonna lie. I could be drinking something or whatever, and I see the video and just spit it out, cracking up, laughing, Paul. All right, so you gotta stop with that. You gotta stop with that. Okay, 100%. Disco was less threatening and easy to dance to. By 78, even Barry Manilow made disco at the Copacabana. They're trying to call Mario soft when they misuse that word today. Now, do you see what I'm talking about? Now, do you see what I'm talking about? Now, people, do you understand what I'm talking about? Do you see, Princess? Do you see what I'm talking about? Do you see when I say that hip hop is not the dance? It's the music that was created to do what we do. It was the music that created why we created the dance for that music. The name was here before Bambaataa got on anybody's interview or anything. Princess. She says she sees. Okay. Princess. You see, your father was not regular. The baby spades, the little rascals, were not regular. These people are talking about regular people. They're talking about regular people. Princess, Mario was not regular. They don't understand that. That's why they can say it evolved from disco. Mario was a disco DJ. Princess, it was so funny when that girl and a couple of other people, I'm not going to say no names, were on the internet saying that they had receipts that Mario was half Puerto Rican. They had receipts. They had concrete evidence. They said that they know that they know that Mario was half Puerto Rican. Now, when they thought that, when the person said that, and they thought that Mario was half Puerto Rican, then he was okay. He was like, and when we brought the family on Michael Ray TV and proved that Mario was no part Puerto Rican, I killed him. And you know I'm an instigator, so I was on the internet every day. Where's the receipts? Where are the receipts? I need to see the receipts. The receipts are going to prove it. Where are the receipts? Nothing. Crickets. Changed the name, and then it was hated me. Hated me. Hated me. Oh God, they hated me. They hated me. Hey, Princess, am I lying? Am I lying? Princess, in the comments, am I lying? Oh my God. Okay. Mario became a disco DJ when they found out he wasn't Puerto Rican. Before that, him and Tex were the Puerto Rican hip-hop duo from the beginning. Hey, I got it. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold up.
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Oh my God. Okay, thanks, Riri. Thank you, Riri. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Stayed on here way too long. Phase don't stay on here. And I listen. I thank you, people, for staying in there with me. I really do. I think this was needed. I think this was needed. Also, now think about this. Think about this. So we already know my channel's not monetized, but this information that was needed, isn't it worth a couple of dollars? Isn't it? Do I have to add? Because I even stopped saying it. But isn't it worth a couple of dollars to say, whoa, the truth is coming out. The truth is coming out. The truth is coming out. And they running and ducking and hiding and all of that, sniffling and and tearing up and all of that. You know how they get the knot in the throat? All right. So isn't that worth a couple of dollars? You people that stay with me all this time, isn't that worth a couple of dollars? Do I really have to say that? Y'all don't know that, okay, look, FaZe is telling the truth. FaZe is saying what, ain't that worth a couple of dollars? So I'm going to leave that up there. I'm going to leave that up there. And I'm going to stay on for a little while. And I'm going to look at these comments. All right? So let's see what it do. All right? Peace. I love you guys. I love you.
Colonel Jessup, did you order the Code Red?
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!